Namaste and hello, this is your Sanskrit instructor welcoming you back into lesson number 44. So for the previous videos, we learned how to write out letters, we learned how to make words, we learned how to make sentences, we learned how to decline nouns ending with "a" in the masculine and neuter genders. We also learned about Sandhi rules, which were grammar rules, and we learned about the first conjugation. And we worked a lot with all of these various types of verbs and nouns, and we made different sentences, we translated it, and now we're ready to move on to a new topic, and that is the fourth conjugation. In Sanskrit, the fourth conjugation is called devadi. So the fourth conjugation is in present tense active voice, and all with the active voice basically means is that the verb, all what it means is that the subject is doing the verb's action. So the subject is the one that is doing the action. That's what it means by active voice. And the Sanskrit word for this would be kartari prayogaha. Now let's take a look at the formation of the base. What I like about the fourth conjugation is that the radical vowel does not have to take guna. So when we were forming the base, we had to take a look at that table with guna and vridhi and all of the vowels. And we had to look at the medial vowel and the radical vowel, and we had to make sure that they take guna before we actually add our termination endings. For the fourth conjugation, you don't have to worry about that at all. All what you have to do here is to add ya to the root. That's ya with a halant, so ya, and then you have to remove that halant anyway, because as you see in step C, the letter a is added before the terminations anyway. So all what you have to do is you have to take the root word that is given to you and just add a ya basically to the end, and then you add your termination endings, and life is nice and simple and dandy. So let's take a look. So the radical vowel does not take guna. Ya is added to the root. C, the letter a is added before the terminations. That a, just like in the first conjugation, it becomes a before terminations beginning with ma or va. So all the terminations that begin with ma or va, as we learned in the first conjugation, are basically the termination endings that are in first person, singular, dual, and plural. Me, vaha, and amaha. So just like the first conjugation, the termination endings are the same. And then just like the first conjugation, that is dropped. The one that you're adding, that is dropped before the terminations that already begin with an And in the scenario of the first conjugation, that was anti, which was the third person plural termination ending, and your terminations are exactly the same as that of the first conjugation. So the fourth conjugation shouldn't be difficult for us to understand. Now let's take a look at the example that I have here for you guys. So application of the fourth conjugation. What we will be applying here as our example would be the root word to nourish, and that word is push, and that means to nourish. Now let's take a look at the formation of the base. So remember, in the fourth conjugation, it doesn't take guna, so it just remains as push, but then ya is added to the root, so you have push plus ya becomes push ya. So notice how this is formed here. So what was basically done, instead of writing the entire sha, they just wrote the sha without this line here, okay? And then they added that to the ya, and then they made push ya. And when the letter a is added, just fix the typo there. So when the letter a is added, it becomes pushya, which you're basically removing this halant here. So after when you end up with pushya, then you could add your termination endings. So before termination endings beginning with ma or va, it's going to become pushya, like pushya maha and pushya mi, pushya vaha. And then for terminations beginning with it will be just pushya without the at the end, so that when you add the anti, it's just going to become pushyanti. So let's add the termination endings. So you end up with pushyami, I nourish. Pushyavaha, the two of us nourish. Pushyamaha, we all nourish. Pushyasi, you nourish. Pushyataha, the two of you nourish. And pushyata, you all nourish. Pushyati means he, she, or it nourishes. Pushyataha, the two of them nourish. And pushyanti, they all nourish. And that is the end of the rules for the fourth conjugation. And this format will apply to all of the verbs that are conjugated in the fourth conjugation. And in the next video, we will be practicing how to conjugate some more verbs in the fourth conjugation, and then we will be adding on to our vocabulary. So this is your Sanskrit instructor signing off with a namaste, and I will see you in the next video.